Hey, what is going on, guys? This is CodedSteele, and welcome back to another App Inventor tutorial. First, I want to say something that I don't get to say very often. I very much appreciate all of the subscriptions that I've gotten lately from everybody, all the support that I've gotten lately. As you guys are probably very well aware, it is very difficult for a channel like this to exist on YouTube. Educational channels usually kind of fall to the wayside of some of the other stuff, but I very much take pride in teaching you guys everything that I do know about this App Inventor software, and I just try to do my best to help you guys be able to make your own applications. So again, just thank you guys for helping me build this channel and making it as successful as it is. Moving on, I did get a suggestion from somebody to make what we're going to name a battery monitor application. So this is going to be a very simple application. There's going to be absolutely almost nothing to this application, but essentially I just kind of want you guys to see, I want this person to be able to see how the battery monitoring stuff works. There is a way to do that, and the only way to do it that makes it easy. There is a way supposedly to do it with the activity starter, but you got to jump through all kinds of hoops to get it to work. So the best way to do it is to use what they call an extension. An extension is basically your way to be able to modify the App Inventor API. So your way to be able to change what the App Inventor interface stuff is capable of doing by default. So by default, it's not really capable of monitoring your battery right out of the box. It can't be done. So you have to pull that information from somewhere. You have to pull it for that resource from somebody who's either already written the Java code, which is what this extension is, somebody who's already written the Java code to make that happen. And then we can use that to create our own battery monitoring application. So we'll get started here, and what we got to do is you got to go down to this extension tab and hit import extension. Now after you do that, you choose your file. We're going to choose, I already have it called, the battery monitor.aix. When you hit open and then you hit import, it may take about 30 seconds to a minute depending on how fast or how slow everything is. That was pretty quick. And then you can name it whatever you want to name it. I'm going to name it battery monitor. You guys can leave it the default name, and then we will drag the component into the designer window. Now, this is where things will start to get interesting and kind of brand new here. When we go to the blocks layout, we can click on this battery monitor, and you can see that we have a couple of new components that we didn't have before. We've got this battery changed event block. So you guys I've mentioned event blocks and how they work before. They're basically anytime something changes, it raises a flag and does something, makes something happen. In this case, the event that's changing is anything with the battery, whether this changes, that changes, this changes, that changes, whatever. Whether the status changes, which the status of your battery can be anything from charging to full to discharging to not charging or unknown. Charging's obviously you have it hooked up. You're charging it. Full means it's at 100%. Discharging means it's in its natural state. You're carrying it around in your pocket, whatever. So that's discharging. Not charging, not charging would basically mean that the battery level has to be staying the same. It can't be charging or discharging. If it's discharging, then your state's going to be discharging. If it's not charging, that would mean your battery level has to be remaining constant. So I'm not exactly sure how you would get that to happen. It'd probably be kind of a difficult state, I think, to get your phone in. But in most cases, when you're carrying your phone in your pocket, it will be in the discharging state. Then you've got plugged. And I know we're kind of going out of order with this. We're going to go in order with the event block. Plugged status shows USB, AC, wireless, or unknown. USB obviously being it's hooked up to your computer. AC being you're powering it off of wall power. You're charging it with a regular AC adapter. And then you've got wireless, which is, if you guys are familiar with those inductive coils that have begun to hit the market, If your phone has one of them induction capabilities, you can put it on the little inductive mat and it will charge your phone that way, and it would say you're charging wireless. Or unknown. I would say unknown will be the standard state for your phone. And reason being is because if it's not in USB AC wireless, the only other state left is unknown, which basically means if you're carrying it around in your pocket, it's in an unknown state. I don't know why they said unknown. You could have just said not charging or something like that. But that's how it is. Level is so simple. It's just the percentage of your battery between 0 and 100. So if it's a 0, if it's at 10%, it'll say 10%, whatever. You know, it'd be a 10, whatever. So then you've got your health. Health, cold, dead, good, overheat, overvoltage, unknown, unspecified failure. In most cases, if your phone doesn't have anything wrong with it, and actually in all cases, it will be in the good state. It'll be good. To see it in cold, dead, overheat, or overvoltage, I would say it's probably fairly difficult. Overheat is probably some set threshold for the temperature. If it gets over a certain, it gets too hot, then it might go into overheat. But I think in most cases, you're probably never going to see this change state too much unless you have really bad luck. It'll probably always report good for you. Then we've got temperature. Temperature is in degrees Celsius, so it's not in Fahrenheit. It's in Celsius. You could convert it to Fahrenheit simply enough. You can look that up on the internet, how to do something like that. But as of this moment, you have to ignore the phone. And then basically what we have going on here is then we got the voltage. And voltage is just your battery voltage in millivolts. Yeah, I guess unknown was calling. Great. Okay, now you got the returns the battery voltage in millivolts. Most cases, lithium-ion batteries charge to 4.3 volts or so. So that would be 4,300 millivolts. About when your battery is fully charged, you should expect it to see it somewhere around that range. Now, depending on your battery chemistry, it may be higher, may be lower. It's kind of hard to say what level it will be at specifically, but just so you guys are aware, typically it will report like a 4,000 number, probably something pretty close to that. Or if it's below, then it might start reporting 3,800 or 3,900 or something like that. So that is all of the blocks that is in the battery monitor stuff. We're going to create a simple application that takes and makes use of the battery monitor and displays all the various components, and then it will actually report your battery level every time it changes by a certain percentage, which you guys will be able to dictate. So that's what we're going to do now, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull in a table arrangement, and we're going to count the number of things here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 things that can change about your battery. So we're going to create 6 rows and leave it 2 columns. So now we'll turn around, we'll grab our bunch of labels. Label 1, label 2, label 3, label 4, label 5, label 6. So there's our 6 done things, and then we'll drag the other labels to the side. So I am doing this video a little bit differently than I normally do, and I'm creating it for you guys as we go along, primarily because I got requests from some of you guys. This app itself was a request, and I figured it's simple enough to where I don't really have to think about it too much. So I thought, what the heck, we'll just do this one on the fly here. So the first one I think we're going to do is we'll follow them based on this. So we'll go through and we'll actually say status first. So I'll name this text box status with a colon. Then it will go plugged, and then level, then health. So we'll go to the next label, and we'll name this plugged, and then we'll name the next one level, Name the next one health. If I could spell it right, there we go, health. And then it should be temperature and then voltage, yes. All right, temperature and then voltage. And I forgot to put my colon. Yeah, I'm not doing a super fancy app. Obviously, most of that stuff takes time, and you know we don't have time to be sitting here going through and making this overly complicated. I just kind of wanted to show you guys how to create a simple application, you know, pretty easily. The last thing we're going to need to put in here is we're going to need to put in here the text-to-speech component. That's the speech recognizer, the text-to-speech. Thank you. All right, so now we will go on over to the text-to-speech, or back to the the blocks window, and we're going to turn around and we're going to do something pretty, you know, straightforward here, like we always have done in the past for the most part. We're going to copy. Why am I hitting that button? Control C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got all of our labels. And as I was saying to you guys before, anytime any one of these things changes, it's going to refresh the screen. So that's probably going to happen quite a lot. Anytime you plug it in or you unplug it or anything, it should change, and it will change. So, you know, pretty straightforward stuff there. So let's see the level, get the level. The health, get the health, temperature, get the temperature, and the voltage, get the voltage. All right. So this will obviously just create a little status display for your battery, displaying all of the parameters of the battery on the screen, showing you what condition your battery is in. So the next thing we will do here is use the text-to-speech component and a couple other things here. So I said what we were going to do is we're going to create something that your phone speaks every time your battery changes by a certain percentage. Well, how do you do that? Basically, how you're going to do that is we're going to set the battery percentage to 100. So that would be what would happen. If it's at 100%, then we're good. We're going to start out at 100% every time you open the app window, but then as soon as this battery change state thing gets called, things are going to update and refresh and whatever. So we're starting that at 100. Then we're going to use an if statement. And what are we going to do here? We're going to say if the battery changes by a certain percentage, then we're going to say what the percentage is. So essentially what we got to do there is you got to create this join. We got to take this join block. We got to add another string here, and we got to say, we got to do this. So take the text block. Your battery is at, and then we will copy this and say percentage. Your battery is at blah blah percentage, or blah blah percent. Maybe just percent. Yeah, that sounds better. All right. And then we take the level, copy that, and we paste it. So remember, this is a value between 0 and 100. So when this block gets called, it will say your battery is at blah, blah percent. So there's our 0 between 100 value. Now we have to create the checking condition. Checking is pretty simple. I think you guys might already know what we've got to do there. It's not super difficult, but we need one of those. And we need one of these. So what we'll do is we're going to do this. We're going to say if the name minus the level is greater than, I don't know, 10. And obviously you could change this. This would be if the name and the level get further out of whack than a certain percentage, then it will actually, so we say greater could say actually, I guess, greater than or equal to or whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to use greater. So if it changes by 10 points, then it will speak the battery level is essentially what we're doing here. So ideally, the way that would work would be if it's at 100, if it's at 90, if it's at 80, 70, 60, 50. Whether it will be those exact numbers, not necessarily. But there's one other thing we got to do here. We have to change the state of, or we have to change the number name is. And it should be pretty straightforward why we got to do that, but I will explain it anyway. If we don't, then this block will always be true anytime the battery gets below 90%. So basically, anytime the battery is below 90%, it'll constantly repeat and say the same message. Well, we don't want it to do that. We want it to do it just when it's changed by a certain amount. So we're going to constantly change this. Anytime this block gets called, we're going to update this variable and make that to where it won't do that again. So now we have got a pretty functional application here that will work exactly as the application I already have loaded on my phone. But we are going to build it and upload it anyway, just to make sure I didn't do anything different. That would be embarrassing. So hopefully this is all making sense. These extensions, you guys are capable of making your own extensions. They're rather difficult to make. And I don't know if I will do a video on how to make any extensions at any point. I might go through that. But at the moment, there's no plans for that in the works. If you guys request it and I get enough requests, I will. But at the moment, this was the request. Just how do I monitor my battery? I want to know how to do it. Okay, you're getting shown how to do it, guys. That's how this channel, pretty much a lot of it works, is based off of requests. So we'll open that up. And wait for something.
Your battery is at 82%.
So there you go. You guys heard it speak. It's at 82%. Now it will never do that again unless it changes by 10 points. So theoretically, that would be 72%. Obviously, if you wanted to make it say it more frequently, you guys should already know how to do that. It would just be modifying this block and changing the number. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Didn't take a whole lot of time. That's the good thing. So that should answer this person's question that asked about the battery monitoring. How do I do it? Whatever. There you go. That's how you do it. Pretty straightforward, I think. But you guys can kind of see here, status discharging. That's rather common when it's not hooked up to something. That's what it'll be. Plugged unknown. It's not hooked up to the wall. If it was, then it would change to AC or whatever. You guys can try that. I'm not going to right now. And then you got your level, 82, and then health, good. Like I said, most phones should say good. If it says anything but that, well, you got a problem. And then your temperature, 28 degrees Celsius, which is probably around, it's around room temperature, 70 something degrees, 78, almost maybe 80 degrees, somewhere around there. Fahrenheit, and then you have got your millivolts, which you just saw change. Now it's 4017, was 4018. At a full charge, it's around 4.3 or so volts, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe a little bit more than that, but that's about what it is. So, I mean, nothing completely mind-boggling here. I think this is a pretty simple application compared to some of the ones we've done in the past, but now you guys have got your own ability to do that. One other thing I should mention, since this is kind of a tutorial about extensions at the same time as being a battery monitoring video, the way extensions work, so when I go and I export this application and put it on my G Drive account, which I'm going to do so you guys can download it and make use of it, change it, make it better, do what you want to do with it, it will also export the extension. So when you guys import this into your own computer, you actually will not have to add the extension. I'm going to make the extension available anyway on the G Drive account. It will be linked in the description of the video, as will the link to the application itself be linked in the video, or in the description for the video. But it makes porting applications very easy. The fact that the extension carries with the application, I think, is an amazing idea. That way, you don't gotta load up, the extension every time you turn around and you move this around, or you want to share this app with somebody. Now they got to get the extension, and it just creates a headache for everybody. So I thought that's a really clever thing that they did, making that available. So without further ado, I think that's going to be it for this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, make suggestions for future videos. I really do appreciate getting suggestions and doing them for you guys. A lot of our app videos that we've been doing lately have been suggestions from viewers. So I do listen to you guys. I do try to do what you ask me to do. However, it can be very difficult to get to everybody's or show everybody's application. I'm going to try to get better at that and try to open up more free time so we can make that stuff possible. So thank you guys for your continued support, and I will see you guys at our next App Inventor tutorial.